Now we're doing better. Hey, now, what's going on, y'all? Thank you. For some reason, my computer keeps trying to find my iPod's Max, and I don't know why. Anyway, hey, guys. Again, things that I was talking about earlier. I am Jay Tate. I am publisher at auburnsports.com. I am the Commodore. Sometimes I have my mic on, and other times I don't. Yes, I have learned that. Yeah, Anonymous says, welcome to the lip reading clinic. Hey, sometimes I get it wrong, you guys. I have to admit. There you go. Everybody's like, yay. Jay has his mic on now. Yes. All right, guys, so the Auburn Tigers victorious in Starkville, a game that we all thought was going to be really, really tough, and it was tough. I loved the way that Auburn opened the game. I love the way that Auburn played pretty much all the way to halftime, right? Last 2 minutes going into halftime, just kind of okay. I think they were at 15. Second half, not so good. And you kind of go into overtime thinking, right? Because they mismanaged, I thought, that last machination or that last call going into the end of the second half. They're going to try to run a pick-and-roll roller for Jabari, and they iced the screen, and then everybody was and then Zepp was like standing there looking around, and it was just a bad finish to the second half there. But then you get into overtime, and KD just goes off, scores 12 points. The team scores, I think, 20 in overtime after scoring 21 in the second half. And boy, MWD says newspaper voice and radio face. What a nice guy. Jeez, man. Thanks for that. I'm going to take back everything I said about the Sin case, bro. Anyway, what up, you guys? Let me bounce over to our regular page here where we can discuss the big dub. We have added the Mississippi State win over there on the left, and the Tigers are 26-4. They are one game clear of both Tennessee. Let's see, Tennessee, Kentucky, maybe Arkansas as well. Sean B says, claiming the SEC title when you were tied with two other teams you lost head-to-head to. That is not true. Seems like a Bama thing to do. We need to win Saturday if we want to hang a banner. Sean is not aware of how things work, which is okay. Some people don't understand how things work. Auburn is actually one game clear of both Kentucky and Arkansas and Tennessee right now. And if Auburn wins against South Carolina this weekend, they will finish the season, the SEC season, 15-3. And the best that Kentucky, Arkansas, or Tennessee can do is 14-4. So Auburn, in that case, would be one game clear, and they would be the absolute, no doubt about it, title. I think Sean may have some problems with that. Sean may be a Bammer and may have some problems with that. But we don't really give a shit about what Sean has to say about it, honestly. The Auburn Tigers, again, win tonight 81-68 with a great, otherworldly performance in overtime. Katie Johnson, wow. I had a chance to listen to him on the radio there after the game, and, man, he sounded like a dude that was ready to have a great overtime period, and boy, did he come through. Again, 12 points on 3 of 3 shooting, and he was just too damn good. He was too good. Going to the hole, it was weird. So I think he had 2 points in the first half. He had 0 points in the second half. And then he comes through and has an incredible overtime period. And essentially extricates Auburn from trouble. And that's exactly what you want to see from him. A guy who's definitely been a captain and a badass with this team. Ugh, God, Skype's giving me issues. I don't like it. I don't understand. There we go. Boy, Skype's gotten really weird these days. All right, so let's get through some super chats here. I don't know why this is giving me such attitude. Yo, please go away. We got some super chats. I know Pocket Watch jumped in very early on. Unbelievable. No, it was Canoe Man. Why would I have done that? Canoe Man says, can we give that lady Tiger worst poster award? Did she have a bad take? She is generally, well, she's a realist, but she knows the game. She knows the game, so I don't want to give her too much trouble. I really, really don't. Yeah. I think I mixed up Canoe Man and Pocket Watch, which they're really good friends in real life. I met them at the same time, so maybe that's why I did that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old, too. War Eagle 0008 says, War Name Eagle, great W. Love the three-guard lineup. Great point. To close, if Al isn't able to cut or explode to the rim, it's a great way to get a spark. Great point there, War Eagle. They were playing kind of an unusual lineup for them. They had, obviously, Zepp and Wen up top, plus KD kind of playing a de facto wing spot there. And then you got Jabari and Walker. And unusual lineup for them. They almost always play either Dev or, well, back in the day, Simo or Flanny there. And they didn't go with it there. Al was not having a good game. Devin was dry from three-point range. So they just said, hey, let's do it. And, hey, it worked. I think that lineup is not a solution, is not a long-term solution because you lose a lot at the wing when you've got a 5'11" or 6 foot officially KD Johnson defending the wing. But, hey, man, when you want something, when you want a spark on the offensive end and you feel like you've got some extra defense to give up, go for it. And I think it was a good gamble. Obviously, it was one that worked out. And a War Eagle 0008 with the eagle eye to see that one for sure. Mobile alum, 1991, an absolute legend. Obviously, one of our favorite people from Mobile in the Mobile area. Says, God, I need a gummy or two right now. Obviously, a reference to our friends at the War Report, who love some gummies. It's kind of a thing over there. AU Law 20, appreciate you, Mobile alum. AU Law 20 says, Bourbon Fund, boom. Love the effort down the stretch, but shouldn't have been necessary. That's a perfect way to put it, AU Law. I put it in my game wrap, which you can find on the front of auburnsports.com right now. I'm pouring myself a little bit of a drink there. Ooh, I just finished out our bottle of Redemption weeded bourbon. If you guys could find this, Scotty B, if you're up there in Tennessee, I know these are pretty readily available up there. It's a good bottle for about $40. I wrote about this in my game wrap, AU Law, and I felt kind of bad because, I write that column as the game's coming on, and so as the second half winds down and I feel like they're mismanaging things left and right, I'm writing about certain stuff, and then you get in overtime and KD balls up and then it's over. But you're right. Somebody's got to step up down the stretch in the second half. It's got to happen, and it didn't happen. Now, Jabari had a great game. Jabari had 27 points, I think, and his efficiency was incredible. 9 of 13 from the floor today, so no problems with Jabari at all. He had a great game. He's been playing great basketball the last, 3 or 4 games. You could argue he's been great all along, but, he's really kind of come into his own as an offensive. He makes a difference all the time on the offensive end now and was great. But, you need someone to make those big clutch shots as the second half is winding down, and also at the 15-minute point, at the 10-minute stage of the second half, someone's got to get in there and stem that slide. It's got to happen. And it didn't happen tonight. Eventually, Wen hit a shot. Jabari started hitting a few shots, and they kind of slowly weaned themselves out of that problem. But I didn't like the response. I really didn't. Now, the fact that they won this game on the road against a very game Mississippi State team and clinched to share the title, huge credit. But, man, I'm with you, AU Law. You just want to see a little bit more in that second half. Just managing the problem and getting out of the rut instead of let's just put up some 26-footers. That's not the answer, I don't think. Stu Pup, keeping the streak alive. I think he's got some folks with him today as well, some other brain drainers. Glad AU won and got a title, but that second half was worse than my puppy farting on me during a Zoom meeting today. Whoa, buddy. That's suspiciously specific. They both stunk. I was just kind of talking about that. I don't want to beat the drum on that too much, Stu Pup, but I'm with you, brother. Surprising the way that they did not get themselves out of that funk more quickly and more efficiently in the second half. Again, you win the game, you clinch the title, all's well that ends well, but there is going to be a time in the very soon when they need to be better about getting out of these holes, and there's work to be done. Easterwood, one of our favorite Easterwoods from the Madison area, says SEC champs. We're going to give him an applause because we love Brad E. What an absolute legend. Married to a legend as well, and I'm sure he is raising some children who will soon be legends. Jordan W. says, love that lineup with Zepp, KD, and Wen in the backcourt together. Yeah, it was very effective. I don't think that's a long-term solution to anything unless you're kind of hitting the panic button. But in a way, they were in a panic situation, right? I mean, the second half was a freaking disaster. And you love the fact that they did force the tie and they get into overtime. There's credit there, but he needed something. He knew he needed something. To me, going to that lineup tells me he was desperate. And they came through. KD came through. KD is a madman when it comes to downhill driving, and he got it done. Quan, one of our all-time favorites from the Montgomery area. Probably just one of our all-time favorites from any area, but it just happens to be here in my area in Montgomery, Alabama. Contribution to Sean's emotional support fund. Ooh, it was a rocky one today, was it not, Quan? You know what I'm talking about, bro. Canoe Man says, indeed had the David Aldridge moment, D-Lucky. Obviously, you did not listen to last week's rundown talking about Leif B having his email announced or discussed on the Kornheiser show. That's huge. We love Leif, one of our friends who comes over from the Rebel Grove site. And we also have my man Mike G is in the house as well. We love having him over here. Matt N jumps in. Also hit that thumbs up and credit to me for encouraging JD to do this brain drain. Yeah, Matt was just tweeting at me saying, I'm ready for my SEC championship brain drain, which of course I was going to be here to do it, of course. But we got to get through the post-game interviews. Had a chance to listen to, KD came up first and then the coach, and then had a chance to listen to Dylan Cardwell, who said this was his first championship in life. That in high school he said he was robbed of a few titles, and then here at Auburn, this is the first one he's been a part of, so I was pretty fired up for him. He's always fun to listen to. Paul S. says, JGT, appreciate you and your coverage all season, King. War MF Eagle, and let's celebrate this title, King. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you, bro. That's a very nice thing to say. By the way, I just want to be honest with you guys. I got banned on Xbox today. Yeah, I got a 3-day ban on Xbox. Communications ban because I called somebody a dick. That's all it took. I expect people to get banned on Xbox for saying like really nasty stuff because, man, if you guys play Warzone, you know what I'm talking about. People say some really mean stuff about other people. I told a guy I didn't call him that. I said he was acting like a dick, and I got banned for that. I'm pretty sad about it. So I'm not exactly a king. I'm not a great role model necessarily, but whatever. Just having a little TMI moment right there. Ravine jumping in. Ravine is with us at all times. He's not always in the chat, but he's with us in spirit at all times. Says, thank goodness KD found himself in overtime. Applause for KD for sure. He was a fan of, probably wasn't a fan of the turnover with 2:30 left in overtime for Bruce to get everyone on the same page. Great coach move. Was a fan of the timeout. Oh, the timeout. With 2:30 left in overtime for Bruce to get everyone on the same page. Good stuff. Rare situation, right, for BP to call timeouts. He likes to let things kind of unfold organically because it's his opinion that these players, this team, needs to learn how to extricate itself from problems, and he always feels like a bucket is the best way to shut the crowd up, that a timeout really doesn't solve that problem. I agree with him completely. If I was a coach, which I am not, and I have never been, well, not really, I'm not a big timeout guy either. When I was a young man, I was watching Kentucky because I went to school there. Rick Pitino would routinely just let things unfold and not call timeouts. And I just kind of grew up thinking that. Denny Crum was at Louisville. My parents were Louisville people. He let him go too. Steve says, good thing I could no longer drink the Russian Standard during our second half collapse. I guess you are an Alabama resident because Governor Ivey has halted all sale of Russian-made vodka or any drink, I guess. But it was like, I think there were like 1 or 2 bottles on the shelf at an ABC store that were actually from Russia. So, I mean, those are gone. Whatever. Andrew B. says, if we play a game in Starkville that is a majority Auburn crowd, does it still count as a road win? It does indeed. But I know what you're talking about. To me, that was more of a NCAA tournament situation there where it was like half full, maybe 60% full, which is kind of what an SEC or an NCAA tournament game is. A lot of Auburn people. About even between Auburn and Mississippi State. A lot of credit to the Auburn people who went over there. I thought that was more reflective of what the NCAA tournament is like. It's not super hostile, I wouldn't say. Sparrow Empire says you're a noob if you don't get banned at least once. Thank you for your support, Sparrow. You sound like a man who has been there before. I actually did appeal it because I was just like, seriously? I said he was being a dick, and he was being a dick. But whatever. I know. You never know who's out there and listening, you know. Jordan Dub says not to belabor a point, but man, Al still doesn't have any flow on offense. You're absolutely right. He says he's an Al fan, but it's got to be weighing on him. Do we start to see his minutes reduced? I don't think so, because I don't think this three-guard lineup is a long-term solution to anything. I think it's just kind of like an off-speed pitch, so to speak. And it was one that paid a really nice dividend tonight for the Auburn Tigers, but I don't think it's something you would necessarily go to. So if you're looking at what to do with Al, I think they're just going to keep feeding him, man. I mean, listen, he's played, 20 games now, 22 games this year. And he's had more or less a pretty flat level of what he's bringing. He's been pretty good on defense. Not awesome, but pretty good. He has been, okay, he's been a disaster on the offensive end. But at this point, man, I mean, I think they're just going to keep going with it. I mean, dude, Dev is the same way, right? Dev's pretty good on defense. His shooting's terrible. Generally, he doesn't take bad shots, though. I think his shots are generally pretty good. And tonight, I thought his shots were good. Looks, didn't hit him. He's a more disciplined shooter, and I'm very glad to see it. Ravine is going to bounce. He says he's got an early morning tomorrow. These late games are no bueno. It is late, and I think Ravine is out there somewhere in the wilderness. I don't know exactly where he is. I'll catch the replay. Have a great show, JG. Y'all be safe. Ravine, we love you, brother. We very much appreciate your support and you always being here for us as long as you can. You know what I'm saying? Mike G says he got banned on Xbox as well for being too good at Call of Duty. I don't know about that, bro. I've played with you, and I'm not saying you're a bad player. I just don't know if you're quite that good. Anyway. Notorious MGM says, is Al really that much better than Simo? Jeez, Louise. You know what? At this point, I think it's just kind of a situation where they're probably preparing Chris either to redshirt or just helping him get his clock started so he can get out of here and go somewhere else. They love Simo, and Simo likes being here, so it's not like an adversarial situation. But to me, he's better than this. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't play at all. Let me take a look and see the last time Simo was in a game. The last time, he can't redshirt. There's no way. I didn't realize he had played that much. His last game was the game against Vanderbilt. He played 2 minutes. He's played a total of, 15 minutes. Shit, let's call it 25 minutes in SEC play. Something in that neighborhood. I was playing some good minutes there in November. The problem with Simo is that he just can't replicate. His confidence is just to the point where, like, he plays in a game and it just doesn't click. And I think he's he's got to be wide open to feel confident to shoot. And, I'm telling you, man, when you're playing in the SEC against these teams and you're on the road, you're not going to get a lot of wide open shots. And you got to have somebody out there that you know is willing to pull the trigger no matter what's going on. And there you go. Oh, my man, Jacob P. jumping in. I play with Call of Duty with this dude all the time. Says, can't believe you got banned, bro, but for the first game of this. Oh, okay. First things. Can't believe you got banned, bro. We talk more junk than that all the time. And then I got hit for saying the guy was acting like a dick. Second point. Jacob was there at the game tonight. For my first game of the season, that was an electric crowd. You were there for a lot of Auburn people getting up, fired up at the Humphrey Coliseum. And I hope you had a good time there, bro. Jacob, I'm not going to say where he's from, but he's from somewhere in the central Mississippi area, and it's awesome to see him having a chance to bounce over there and see the Auburn Tigers live. It's awesome. Telray says, can Berman give us some minutes at the 3? Love Flan and Devin, but it's brutal to watch them on offense right now. Agree completely. I think the problem with Leor, because I think he's a pretty good three-point shooter. No, it's not that I think so. He's a pretty good three-point shooter. I think statistically on the season he's around 50%, although his situation, his games are kind of leveraged. He's playing in lower pressure situations. At least, hell, he hadn't played much since the injury, really, has he? I think defensively is the problem, right? I think at his very best, he's an almost okay defender. So I don't know. I don't think so. I think, Dev is a good defender. Al is a good defender. Lior is probably a below average defender. And it ain't because he's not trying. Let's see. We got Crocky Poo is in the house. We're glad to have him. Crocky Poo is I like to call him a resetter on the bunker. He is obviously a very keen basketball fan. We have a lot of people on the bunker, which is our message board at auburnsports.com, who are what I would call passive basketball fans, people who are really football fans, and they're fired up to see Auburn winning in the basketball court, but they don't necessarily know a lot about basketball, and they get very reactive. Crocky Poo is a guy who is not reactive because he knows the game. He has known the game. He has been a basketball fan since they were shitty. And in a very polite way, he likes to kind of redirect these people toward maybe a broader understanding of the game of basketball. We appreciate him very much, Crocky Poo. That is the most diplomatic way I can say that you know your game and you don't treat people like a dick, which would get you banned on Xbox Live if you said that. Justin R. says, I feel like Auburn has been exposed. That is a fair statement. The general concept for Auburn's offense is high screens, pick and roll, either ball handler or they've been doing some more picking and popping. Also the roller where they do stuff like with Anthony McLemore they used to do. Jabari does some of that now. A little bit with Devin as well. Everything is run off of a high screen. That's just the way things go with BP offenses. Defenses, for the most part, have learned that if they really pressure those high screens, whether they ice it or they don't, they can either switch it or they can ice it, but they pressure it. It just kind of takes Auburn off rhythm a little bit. And that's kind of the way things are going. So when he says they've been exposed, I think that's what he's talking about. And the honest truth is, it sure doesn't come easily for the Auburn Tigers these days, does it? I mean, overtime it came easily because they were rolling downhill with KD, and maybe there's something to be learned from that. He's really good at that. He saved the game for them tonight. It may be something where, they got to jump in and think more about that. AU Horn, my man, jumping in with a super chat. He basically predicted on the Facebooks earlier today, I believe, that he was going to be here doing this. So, no message offered, no message needed, my man. Golf fan, obviously, Masters is coming up soon. We love the Masters. I love the last 3 holes of the Masters on Sunday. That's about as far as I go. But I do like that. If that's worth anything, I'm not a golfer myself. Jordan Dubb makes another good point. Was Walker's shoulder talked about before the game been off the bunk all week? No, it was not really. He was wearing a little bit of a shoulder brace, like a neoprene sleeve kind of. But he sure didn't act like he was limited. And he didn't have a great game offensively. I think he had 4 points, but he had 10 boards. He had 4 blocks. And he was generally out there raising hell like he always does. I put that in my game wrap that don't take him for granted. Don't ever do that. There's days when he doesn't have the big game statistically. Obviously, he has 2 triple-doubles this year, and he's had a bunch of double-doubles. But he's always tearing shit up for the other team. He's a problem for them all the time. Because those guards for every team they go against are worried about him at all times because he's going to embarrass you. And he's limber. He's not just some stiff guy. He's limber. He can follow you on a switch. He can guard 1s and 2s on a switch. And then he gets you from the weak side and slaps you 20 rows up. He's a menace. And he was a menace tonight. He's always a menace. And that's why I think he's going to end up being the National Defensive Player of the Year. Because not only is he a great shot blocker, that's not enough. He's a good defender. He just affects things so much. Allie D is in the chat. Hopefully she still is. She was at one point. We love Allie D. She has become a celebrity. She says, can't wait to see y'all in Tampa. For those of you who are going to Tampa, I know you'd love to see Allie D because she's an absolute legend. She is now officially a letter holder. It has happened. It has occurred. You can never take that away from her. She is a former intern here at auburnsports.com and somebody that we love very much because she's a legend. Jacob P. says Walker's shoulder was definitely bothering him tonight. He was struggling in warm-ups and while walking didn't swing it much. Now, see, that's something I would not have seen here in Montgomery that he would have seen inside the hump. So maybe that explains a little bit. But, I mean, he was going at it all night long, played his regular, shifts, finished with my eyes aren't what they used to be. But what do you get? 29 minutes, which is on par for him. So, whatever. I trust what Jake says, though. Spare Umpire jumping in says, I think we saw, appreciate the super chat, bro. I think we saw Flan's last start tonight. Interesting. Bruce not using him late in second half or overtime was a big shift compared to last games. That is true. He was not a factor at all in overtime, and neither he nor Devin. So I don't know what the solution is. To me, I don't think KD is a long-term solution at 3 because he just doesn't give you the length or the height to kind of mess with the wings in the league. When you look at the way Mississippi State's team is put together, the wing really isn't a big player for them. It's the point guard, it's the 2, it's the 5. So you're not necessarily losing a lot there if you're going to concede something. If you're playing a team like Alabama, like Arkansas that have devastating wingers, I think you'd really be at a disadvantage. But tonight, not so much. Let's see. Torre says the 3-guard lineup was money. Torre got his first ever rundown shout-out this week, by the way. 3-guard lineup was money. You can't run it all game, but in 4-minute spurts, it can give us a boost, and it's a new look for teams to prepare for. I think that's fair. Good call there, Torre. Booth Buys says, I'd like to see TJ Finley get some minutes. He would certainly bring some length to the wing spot. Some height. And some length, some width. Yeah, I could see that. Crocky Poo says Allie D is the best, but then it's not a smiley face. It's just a wide eye. I don't know what that means. Hayden says Tampa is a great SEC college town. I have joked about this many, many times. Some of it, I get a little nasty about it. Tampa is not in the SEC footprint. I mean, I know we've been there before. We covered, in 2003, right? Auburn? No, shit, that was the NCAA tournament. I forgot. Auburn played in the NCAA tournament down there. I do think they played the SEC tournament there before, maybe 10 years ago or so. I didn't go, though. I think it's silly to not have it in Atlanta or Nashville. Right? Those are central, they're central right inside the SEC footprint, and I think that you should have them there. The tournament is going back to Nashville next year, and it will be there for a while. It's 3 or 4 years, something like that, so I know Allie D's fired up about it being down there in Tampa, which is her second home, but, we'll see. Allie D says, can we stop calling me an intern? I didn't say you're currently an intern. I'm saying you were a couple years ago. No big deal. She was with us 3 years, I think. Maybe parts of 4. I don't remember. It's been a minute. I don't want to say, I'm not going to name any names, Allie, but somebody not at auburnsports.com didn't think that you would be a very good fit with us. Somebody didn't believe in you. And somebody else did. Me and bmat did. Which I know that. We've had that conversation before. Just want to make sure that everybody knows that title. Farm D says, woke up to an SEC title and good grief, those fighting buzzers. We love Farm D, right? AKA Farm Data. Keeps it real in the bunker for sure. Oh. Okay. Let's see if I can get up with bmat here. I would like to hear what bmat has to say on here, assuming, of course, that he has his oxygen with him to make sure that he doesn't run out of breath. bmat was absolutely busting ass today. He was going pitch for pitch with the baseball team, which beat UAB today by about 1 million runs. I don't know. Literally, it's like 15-1. Something like that. AU Horn says, Frank Thomas played football. Why not? Talking about TJ. Whoa. Patrick D. My goodness. Yowzers. We got to have something special for him. Good.
You could drop a tarantula into his shorts and he'll still be cool.
Patrick D., of course, an absolute legend, a channel legend of all time, who threw a party, a bunker-themed party at Auburn, in Auburn, for the Auburn game, for the Alabama game, maybe it was about a month ago. And we've been hearing that Patrick D was a DJ, and dude, sure enough, like was a legit DJ. Like brought his own equipment from across the country because he's such a badass, and had a whole crew of his homies there, and they were all badasses too. So bottom line is Patrick D is an absolute legend. You may know him on the bunker as a Why Not AU. Wow. Thank you very much for that, sir. He says, picked fifth, said we're one with the middle finger. Love this team. Just landed in Omaha, about to throw down. I have no doubt that he's going to absolutely throw down. Daniel P. was there, a.k.a. Metal Fan 25 from the bunker. He and his lovely wife, whose name I will not say on the show because I don't want to out anybody, but he said it was one hell of a party, and I was there. I know. Yeah, I agree. That's funny. Steve R. says, dude, it's clearly bonus season. No, Patrick D is an absolute legend every day of his life. I'm telling you guys have no idea, man. Patrick D is like, oh my gosh. Unbelievable. Thanks, brother. I appreciate your support all the time. Football, baseball, basketball, it's always awesome. Also, Mobile Alum jumps in. Mobile Alum who's been there for us a bunch all the time. Says, hey, JG, great win, but concerned about things you mentioned in your article. Can we get them fixed? What bothers me is we have the same conversation after each loss. It does seem that way, right? Specifically, I was talking about just somebody stepping up and finding a way to kind of stem those bad slides they have. The second half, I mean, the first 5 minutes. Well, the first 5 minutes of the second half were a disaster. The middle 10 minutes were pretty bad, and then the final 5 minutes were better. But just get out of it. Snap out of it. Stop taking 26-foot shots. Run your stuff. Get somebody open and take quality 10-footers, 6-footers, go to the hole, get a free throw, do something to get points on the board. And I know BP understands the value of that. I've heard him talk to the team about it umpteen times. Same for Burgo. I mean, all the coaches feel that way. They know it. They've coached. I mean, Wes Flanagan's been a head coach. He knows. It's like they're like, well, we're just going to keep doing what we do, and eventually the shots will fall. Adjust a little bit. You have to. I'm also with Sparrow Empire on this. He says Zepp is that man. Didn't shoot in the second half. Yeah, he had a good first half. I think he had 9 points in the first half. Good point, Sparrow Empire. And then second half and overtime really didn't do much. And I think he's got the same affliction that Simo has. It's similar anyway. I just don't think he's confident as a scorer with these guys around. If he's at College of Charleston, he had no problem scoring. He was great at it. But now he's with Jabari. He's with Walker. He's with Wynn. He's with KD. He's with, I'm telling you, in practice, Al's big-time player. Like, I think he gets intimidated by it a little bit. Canoe Man says Stephen Pearl has been a head coach too. Has he? I don't think he has. Has he? No way. I don't buy. You're laughing. I don't know. You might be messing with me, yo. Canoe Man, what are you doing, bro? AU Horn says, JG, there's a national championship team. Just have to share the dang ball. I don't know about that. They're definitely in that conversation for sure, along with Gonzaga. Baylor is playing good basketball. Yeah, Villanova's playing good basketball right now for sure. And Arizona's a pain in the ass. Arkansas is a pain in the ass. Arkansas is a very good team. It barely got out of their game tonight, but I mean, sometimes it happens. Oh, Spicy P says he coached Auburn one game. LOL. I'm gonna laugh about that because I forgot that he was the interim coach for one of those two games when BP was suspended. Wes got one, and then Stephen Pearl got one too. So very clever, Canoe Man. You got me on there. I was sitting there going, wait, what? Did I forget something? I like talking to Steven, though. He's a lot different than me, I like learning from different perspectives. Call Me Biscuit said, did anyone see Bruce after the game interview? Wow. Yeah, he had his interview with Andy was good, and he was basically saying, like, we're going to get every student that wants to get in there. We're going to get him in the arena. He couldn't say that legally, but he was saying that. And Well, it'll be interesting to see. I know it's going to be an absolutely raucous crowd. It's going to be crazy. Spicy P says that Auburn is now plus 280 to reach Final Four. I don't know what that means, but I bet it means they're one of the better, more likely teams to do that. D. Lucky, who we love, of course, and adore, says we have extremes on the shot meters. Zep, Jabari, too differential to win, and are too differential, and then Wynn and KD are not selective enough. Some truth to that for sure. Several bad shots tonight from Wynn and KD, each individually. Wynn is kind of like the master of a bad shot, in my opinion, but he cashes them out sometimes, and he does it enough to where you're like, you just kind of have to live with it. KD as a shooter, I'm not sure I love him. That way, I'm not sure that I would afford him that same kind of leeway. But if he's going to the rack, I sure would. He does some like Harry Houdini shit when he goes to the rack, and he somehow gets the ball at least competing for a bucket, if not just getting the and one anyway. He's really, really good. Let's see. Steve R says, I've got standing room only tickets. Can't wait to hit the AU Conference Center bar afterwards. This sounds like my kind of shit right here. Like, that sounds like my kind of scene. You going to drink some brown water, bro? I have cashed out my supply of brown water. Probably don't need to be drinking anymore, though, anyway. I do totally off the beaten path here. Me and my administrative assistant, you may know her as Courtney, or my wife, we're going to be celebrating the 30th anniversary of our first date. Is going to be Friday night. 30 years. We went on our first date March 4th, 1992. How about that? 30 years. I didn't even know. I mean, I knew her, but I didn't really know her. That was our first event we ever went to together. It was like a grab-a-date for her sorority. And 6 weeks later, I was like, I'm marrying this chick. It's over. Like, there's no doubt. No doubt. Spicy pieces that Jabari dunk at the end was what the end of every half/game should be. Get it to him on the elbow and move away. It was a very authoritative dunk, wasn't it, Spicy P, man? He absolutely flushed that bad boy. And had a hell of a game. Again, 27 points for Jabari. He was my player of the game. And, I don't know. Torres says that's 4 days before my first birthday. Well, I'm going to give myself that. There you go, Allie. You think you feel old? How do you think that makes me feel? Bro. I am old. Turning 50 this year. It's all good. I'm still pushing P, though. It's all Gucci. I definitely want to get Brian on here. I promised him earlier. Pocket Watch, I know his night would never be finished truly unless bmat was on the horn. So we're gonna call bmat and see if I can. Sometimes I get confused about which number I'm calling on bmat. I think I'm calling the wrong one. Yeah, here he is. No, I don't want to call. I don't want to make a 911 call. Jeez. All right, here we go. Is this Brian Matthews? B-Matt. B-Matt, you there, bro? Uh-oh. I don't think B-Matt can hear me, and I can't hear him either. Not good. Dang. All right, so what happened was, remember earlier in the show, I was like, uh-oh, this whole Skype thing looks really weird to me. I'm afraid that Skype did some kind of an update, and now I can't get the Skype to connect into my interface here. Very frustrating. Let me try bmat here on this. I have two versions of Skype. Let's see if this one picks up a little bit better. B-Matt, you there, bro? Dang, it didn't work there either. I think I have a way to fix this, but I can't really mess with it right now. It's hard to fix things when I'm on a call like that. Yeah, it's hard to do. It sucks, man. Okay, I think I just fixed it. I don't like doing this live, but sometimes you have to. I know, B-Man. I know, man. He's texting me going, bro, what's going on? Let me try one more time on BMAT. I changed some settings, and hopefully you guys will be able to hear him this time. If not, we're just going to punt. Austin P., what's in the house? BMAT, can you hear me now? Unfortunately, they can't hear you, though, is the problem. No, it's not. Let me see if I can make one more switch here and see if they can hear you, because that's really important. Hell yeah, it is. Yeah, I know. I don't think I can get it fixed on the air. I appreciate you, though, bro. Sorry. All right, man. See you, bro. All right. BMAT, he was able to hear me that time, but you guys couldn't hear him, and that's really frustrating. We'll figure that out for next time. God dang it. Every time Skype updates, some BS like that goes down. I'm glad nobody else was calling, because I probably wouldn't be able to get them on either. Very, very frustrating. Dadgummit. Let's see. Spicy P says, how many wins do we need to be a number 1 seed? Good question. Looking at let's go to our other page here. Boy, that's so frustrating. Dadgummit. Let's go to our main page over here, and I will pull up here. I'll just put the box score in here just as a placeholder, and we're going to take a look at the top teams in the country on KenPom, and we'll just try to make a assertion there. All right. These are the teams right here that are going to be fighting for a number 1 seed. Let me go ahead and X that out and add these. So, some of these Auburn's going to have a say over, and some of them they won't. Stop doing that, Jay. All right, Gonzaga has a really weird tournament set up over there. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but basically they only have to win 2 games to win their conference tournament because of the way their seeding works. Now, some of the people in the bunker thought this was a really good idea, that the way that it works in their league is like the worst teams, start off with the game. They each play each other. And then the next worst team plays the winner of that game, and the next worst team, and you kind of work your way down to where like the top 2 teams, they don't even play for the first 4 days. It's an interesting way to do it. So to me, Gonzaga's going to be a locked-in number 1, no doubt about it. Baylor, to me, is probably going to be a locked-in number 1, no doubt about it. If they were to get crushed here late, they might end up forfeiting it, but they're playing really good basketball right now. Arizona, to me, is playing good basketball, although they lost the other night to a team. I forgot. It was somebody kind of goofy. But I'm telling you, Arizona, they are a real bitch, man. They have so many big dudes. They lost to Colorado last Saturday. Arizona did 79-63. They just got crushed. And they turned around and beat USC by 20. Arizona has so much height, or as Tommy Tuver would say, height. They're going to be a problem. Kentucky, we all, I think, have the same opinion of Kentucky. And then Duke, they're going to be loving them because it's, Krzyzewski's last year, guys. Like we give a shit. Houston has been really good, too. That's another team that I think is going to be a real pain in the ass. I think ultimately Houston will be a 2. And they're going to be somebody's nightmare because they're a really good basketball team. They've probably won 20 of their last 22, something like that. Let's see, they beat Cincinnati, who's kind of shitty the other day. Beat SMU, who's kind of shitty. They don't really play anybody. Their regular season finale is going to be Sunday against the hated Memphis Tigers, but, Memphis is kind of what it is. They've been better, though. Memphis has won 8 of the last 9, so maybe they're going to give Houston some trouble. And they did beat Houston earlier in the year. Yeah, Houston's good. They're good. So number of wins. Auburn can absolutely catapult up into a number 1 seed situation. So you beat South Carolina. I think you win 2 in the SEC tournament, and you're good. You're good to go. Which would involve beating either Arkansas or Kentucky. I think is what you're looking at there. And I really, at this point, Villanova's a problem. You watch Villanova, you look at him, you say 22-7. Why is JG worried about that? I'm telling you, man, that's the kind of team that just give you shit all the time, man. Watch their game against UConn. Watch their game against Providence the other night. It was a really good one. Look at that. Canoeman says, world's best DJ in the hizzy. It's Patrick D. Absolutely. There is absolutely some truth to that. Canoe Man jumps in with another super chat. Let me move this down. It says, please smash the like button. What a considerate brain drainer you are. Thank you. We do need more thumbs up. We only have 30. Very, very bummed out that we didn't have that the Skype wasn't working tonight. What the heck, man? Every time they do an update, it's some BS like that. I don't understand it. Let's see. D-Lucky says we should be locked in, according to Lenardi, after the win tonight. Champion of the best conference. Is that known? Do we know that? Let's see what... Ken Palm has the Big 12 as the best conference in the league, but Ken Palm also has the SEC as the second best league. Of course, Big 12 has Baylor, Kansas. Texas Tech has been a real problem this year. They're pretty good. Texas, to me, is solid. TCU is actually their fifth-place team. I don't love TCU. Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Oklahoma, Kansas State, and West Virginia, not great. But the top of that league is a real bitch. I get it, man. Yeah, and I would disagree with Lenardi on that, but he knows a little bit more about brackets than I do. Not trying to be that guy. Let's see. Matt says, just saw where Bruce retweeted it, and damn, what a crowd. I guess, is he talking about Mississippi State crowd? What are we talking about? Ultimately, I think Auburn's going to be a number one seed. I do. I think they're just going to do what's got to be done, which to me is going to be a win over Kentucky or Arkansas in Tampa. You don't have to win the tournament because being the SEC regular season champion, assuming that they beat South Carolina on Saturday, and they should, SEC regular season champion, and then you win one in Tampa, and I think that's enough. That's just me. Because I think ultimately you put Auburn over Kentucky, assuming they don't, I don't know. I think Auburn's a better team than Kentucky. It's just me. I think the regular season title means more. And it has habitually, through the years, it has meant more to the committee doing the tournament as well. But Gonzaga, Baylor, Arizona, Auburn, I could see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that. You just don't want Houston as your 2 because they are a bitch. Yeah, you don't want Houston as your 2. And you don't want Villanova as your 2. Purdue's fallen off a little bit here in the last 3 or 4 games. I'm not as crazy about it. Let's see. Eric E. says 2022 SEC champions. Eric E., I know you're pushing P out there, bro. Crocky Poo, whose opinion I very much care on this, says got to win at least 1, probably 2, and take care of Southern Cal. God bless. South Carolina on Saturday to go ahead and clinch the full share of the SEC regular season tournament. D. Lucky says that's why he said we're locked in. Crocky Poo will be on the one line on Friday when they meet. Interesting. Russell S. says thumbs up for JG and the Drainers. War Eagle. May God bless all. I love that's a great attitude right there. Thanks for that, brother. Do we want to take a look at the synergy? Of course we do. Everybody wants to see the synergy. Was referencing some of this data earlier today when I did the Mississippi State scouting report, which ultimately ended up being pretty much on the mark. Everything kind of runs through number 1, their point guard, and he had an off night. Had a better second half, but it still wasn't quite enough. Their big man, 35 or 25, he was a badass. He was a problem tonight, and he seemed to really kind of step up in the face of Walker Kessler, kind of knowing that there was a big challenge there. Him being 6'11" and Walker being a big man as well, it seemed like he was playing for pride. You know what I mean? That's just what I saw anyway. Okay, here's the Synergy data. Synergy's team snapshot of the Auburn Tigers right now. This data doesn't change, a ton from week to week because it's based on season averages. And we have those of you who are very eagle-eyed viewers have been watching this, just change incrementally as the years changed, as the years progressed. Excuse me. Auburn rates the numbers you want to look at here are in the far right corner. Has the rating, gives you an idea where Auburn is in each category compared to all the other teams in the country. So you look at the rating, and then the rank is like their percentile. So in general, Auburn's offense is in the 71st percentile overall, which is rated very good. Scott says, is Walker injured? Yes, he's got something going on with his right shoulder. But I thought he played his normal game tonight. He played his regular minutes. Didn't seem particularly bothered. So, it's just something to keep an eye on. That injury would be new to him. You'd be very concerned if he was in a boot. But having a problem with his shoulder, I think he'll be all right. He's out there playing his usual array. You can see Auburn's spot-up shooting, to me, has actually slid backward. They're currently in the 29th percentile, which is not good. This team, in 2019, that went to the Final Four, was like 90%. In the 90 percentile in spot-up shooting. This team's 29%. Not good. Transition, they've been pretty good. Pick-and-roll ball handler, not as great. At this point, they're starting to regress back to where they were last year on that. But it's because we talked about earlier, defenses are really pushing up and pressuring that mesh point and the actual screen, and it's affecting Auburn's offense. They're getting a lot more on cutters, and isolation is still pretty good, mostly with Jabari. But listen, let's be real about this. This is a defensive team. This is a team that thrives on defense, on deflections, on getting out in transition. And this seems surprising to Sonny all the time, who loves talking about, they're leaking. Auburn needs to put its guards and get a challenge for defensive rebounds. And I understand that concept, but to me it's an antiquated concept. Auburn likes to get out in transition. It's vital to Auburn's identity offensively to get out in transition. So to do that, you just can't have five guys rebounding like that. If you can have a couple guys, one or two, leaking out a little bit, and you can rely on Jabari, Walker, maybe Devin. Devin's a good rebounder. Then you can kind of get a head start on your transition game. To me, that's just kind of part of Auburn's identity. It's a serial point of frustration for Sonny, but, I love Sonny. I'm not hating on him at all. I'm just saying he is what he is. He's definitely old school. So, again, offensively, Auburn, solid. Defensively, Auburn is elite. D. Lucky makes a good point here. He says they don't recognize the tourney winner in the committee for much of anything. He's talking specifically about major conferences. Now, in these smaller conferences, the tourney winner is essentially the only way to go. But in a big conference like the SEC, like the Big 12, like the Big 10, like the Big East, like the ACC, not as much. Unless it's somebody that's kind of making their way up, like Georgia did. Remember Georgia like 10 years ago, that SEC tournament when the tornado hit and they moved it to Georgia Tech, and then things got crazy, and Georgia kind of fought its way in through the tournament. But for teams like a situation like what Auburn's in right now, I don't think the tournament really matters. Patrick D says, I got number 13 Bunker Glass. Yeah, you deserve that one for sure. You should have gotten number 1, my man. Hey, yeah, I'm glad you have it now, though. They are delicious. And Chip, who is the maker of those things, I don't have mine here right now. His new set are even thicker and lovelier. Unbelievable. Let's see. Canoe Man says, if we do not get the number 1 overall seed, not a ton of difference in 1 or 2 seed. I think you're right about that, Pocket Watch, because I think we're kind of losing. You lose the point a little bit, right? Because if you're the overall number 1, then you're playing the lowest number 2. But even then, man, you look at the way this season is kind of played out. Let me bump down this synergy stuff and put this back up. There's a group of teams here you just don't want to mess with. Period. Whether they're a 1 or a 2, Gonzaga, Baylor, Arizona, Houston, Villanova are teams that I just don't want to mess with. And whether they're a 1 or a 2, it doesn't matter. UCLA, to me, is just kind of a weird one. They've kind of just kept it going because they've got a couple really good, tall guards. Texas Tech plays just kind of a real calm, rational, disciplined type of basketball. It's an interesting situation there. Their coach has never been a head coach before, and he's in his 60s. And they've been great. they've been better than Texas, and that's where their coach went. Interesting situation. I have a lot of respect for Tennessee, but I don't know. For whatever reason, I'm not as worried about them. Personally, I'm not. Lagamus says AU is plus 1,000 right now to win it all. Actually, mad respect from Vegas. I would respect you guys more for knowing what that number means because I don't. Patrick D, of course, giving Chip some love here. Affirms that Patrick D has the number 13 brain drain glass. There are the bunker glasses now and forthcoming. Yes. We're definitely going to get one of those in Patrick D's hands as well. The new bunker logo that Chip put on has the tiger and the eagle. Very, very badass. Calling Biscuit says Auburn is the only team to win 25-plus games along with Duke, Belmont, and Gonzaga the last 4 or 5 years. How about that? I hate that Duke's involved there, but Belmont's been really good, obviously, and Gonzaga's been obscenely good over the last 4 or 5 years for sure. Spicy Pieces Duke is going to be a big problem. Yeah, they're going to be fighting really hard for Krzyzewski, Coach Krzyzewski, American hero. But they're a good team. I know. I'm letting my bias get to me, aren't I? I hate Duke. You guys know how I feel about that. There's just no situation where I'm going to give Duke any respect, so that's just not going to happen. Yeah, Patrick D knows. Texas Tech, very fundamentally sound team. Yeah. They are. I mean, they're not as boring like as that Princeton team back in the 90s. The machinations are totally different, but there's that discipline. It's more like Temple, maybe under Chaney. Patrick D says, is it okay for a man to love Bruce like I do? I understand, man. He's the best coach Auburn's ever had. I mean, in basketball, for sure. And he's up there with the greatest of all time, honestly. I mean, just what he's been able to do, like since 2018, really. 18 was a disappointment in the tournament, but the season wasn't. And then 19 was kind of a disappointment in the season, but definitely not postseason. And it's a shame that COVID hit when it did because that 20 team, they were starting to really hit, man. And they had a lot of pieces. Samir was really coming into his own, and it's kind of a bummer. And last year was just weird. And then this year they've been really good. Falling into some hard times here a little bit with this adjustment on their high screen paradigm, but still. Patrick D says Bruce best AU coach in any sport ever. Now I think I would disagree with that one. Because if you're going any sport ever, I mean, Greg Williams has been really good, the equestrian coach. He's I know a lot of you guys are like, equestrian, who cares? But I'm just saying that dude is like national championship caliber every single minute. But BP is an absolute stud, no doubt about it. And you know who hired him? That's right, brother, I did. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Steve R. says BP really believed this was all possible and hired. He sure talked that way, didn't he? And he went out and he recruited that way. He just did not give a shit. Like, he was just like, people were told, Auburn can't do that. And he was like, watch me. Patrick D. also notes that David Marsh, absolutely, he's also an outstanding coach. Can't believe I didn't include him as well. And Richard Quick is really, really good too. I have gone on this rant many times on this show, and I will continue to do it until I don't do shows anymore. But Richard Quick was an absolute stud, and it's an absolute tragedy that he is no longer with us because he was going to take what David Marsh had done. And he was here before David Marsh, and he was going to be here after David Marsh, and he was going to continue that. And it didn't happen. I'm just saying. Spicy P asked me to not forget Tony Barbie. Yes. Pocket watch, I tell you something, brother. I'm glad you're happy. I knew Bruce would be real good for you, brother. Chip says Dye is up there for turning around football and bringing the Iron Bowl to AU. There's no doubt. I mean, I don't dismiss that easily. He brought Auburn Auburn had been in a period in the 70s where things were not going well, mid to late 70s, really not well. relative to Alabama, and he changed all that, which was some very, very heavy lifting, obviously. So much credit there. I'm not trying to put him down, but to me, I mean, Auburn basketball was just dog shit. I mean, Auburn wasn't great under Barfield by any stretch, but Auburn's one of the worst teams in the country under Barbie. I mean, seriously, his last season they weren't that bad. I mean, they were bad, but they weren't hideous. But some of the other Barbie teams were just awful. Oh well. I think we'll probably wrap it up there. I failed you by not having the Skype work, but I didn't even know they'd updated it. So now I've got to find a way to get that worked out. I will, I promise, because we can't live without Skype, and we'll get it working one way or another. Yeah. Patrick D, what an I just appreciate you, man, for just being the legend that you are and supporting everything we do here. I mean, sheesh. I don't even know what to say about that. And to all of our super chatters who are unbelievable. Today's super chatters, which I never ever want to go a show without shouting all you guys out. All you, everyone, not just guys, but girls too, because we have a gal who's a very adamant super chatter who we love. Canoe Man, Kyle M, Mobile alum, AU Law, 20, Stu Pup, keeping the streak alive, Brad E, our favorite, or at least our second or third favorite of all the Easterwoods, Quan, Matt N, Ravine, who is now gone, but we love him, of course, Steve R, AU Horn, appreciate you, Sparrow Empire, Patrick D, of course, unbelievable, Mobile alum 91 again, and Canoe Man, who I shouted out earlier improperly, and now I shout you out properly because I appreciate you, bro. My wife was absolutely starstruck talking to you and Pocket Watch in Mobile. Appreciate you guys coming all that way to see us, bro, and it was an experience we'll never forget. Snowbarn says, my wife won't let me super chat. My man John S., absolute Auburn student assistant legend. Don't forget Sonny Galloway. Worse hire him or Barbie. Yeah, I don't know, man. Worse hire. Like at the time it happened, I think Galloway's a worse hire because everybody knew he was a total dick. Barbie was like at UTEP and he'd gotten him to the tournament, and honestly, I looked at him like from afar. I hadn't interviewed him, but I was like, yeah, that dude's doing work, you know? And he gets here and he sucked totally, and I should have known. Like when I first met him here at Auburn, I was like, he was kind of hanging on that whole like, well, you know, I did a lot of work with Calipari and, you know, I mean, BP, I don't know. You never heard that from him. Like, well, you know, I work for Dr. Tom Davis, and which he did, and Tom Davis is an absolute legend, but I never felt like he was riding on his coattails or anything. I don't know. I think Galloway was a much worse hire. The effect of each coach was bad, right? Call Me Biscuit says, girls we love. I think I can do that. For those of you who are kind of new to the show, we back during quarantine, we used to do a Gals We Adore, which is a picture of a bunch of hot girls. We would just kind of work through. Yeah, I can do that. Why not? These are our, well, I'm not a gal we adore. I don't know why I'm up here. I got to change my my little thing here. I'm going to put this. I am not a gal we adore. Believe me, I'm not. Jill Arrington, of course, in the fuchsia dress there. She's an all-timer for me. And I actually shared a lunch with her one time, and I was starstruck. Shannon Spake there in the middle, and then Jenny Deal. Deal? You guys know better than me. Sheesh. We got a bunch of girls here, though, that I don't have fired up right now. Let's see. We got her. These are all people that, like, Ruxy Poo was kind of hooking us up with. That's the girl from Mad Men, I believe, right? You guys know more about this than I would. Don't know. These are, like, chicks that Ruxy Poo had hooked us up with. Oh, I know her. She's from Entourage. She's lovely. Good call, Biscuit. We get to go through some of these. I don't know who that is. It's just gotten away from me. It's almost 2 years ago now. She seems like a fine golfer. I don't know. Oh, yeah, Jenna Lane. She covers the Tampa Bay Bucks. She's lovely. Jenny Dell. Thank you, Canoe Man. That's the gal there on the right in the Red Sox outfit. I don't know what else we got. Do I know who that is? I don't know who that is. Snowbarn says we need more pulcher. I don't know. Why don't you use a different word that I know, bro? Oh, that's definitely one of those girls that Hornatius got us hooked on right there. For sure. I think that was a girl we were looking for Ruxy Poo and got the wrong one. That is Chris Budden, right? She's lovely. I'm a big fan. I don't know who that is. That's from the Friday Night Lights person. That's like a Fox News chick who I don't see on Fox News anymore. Is that Lisa Booth? Blitted Carlisle. I don't know, man. There's too many here. These are stories that are long ago put away, right? Let's see. Coleman Biscuit says, damn it, what does it take to get a glass or on the wall of fame? My ass was here all COVID. You were, Biscuit. I mean, we love you. Of course we do. Can we get Biscuit a glass? I mean, come on, man. He has been here. What do you mean? No, he's definitely a quality guy. Of course. I know. I mean, I'm the ultimate. Don't talk back to me. We're gonna work it out for you, Biscuit. I'll holler at you, bro. We'll get this worked out. We know this. You're a stud. I mean, nobody's arguing this. D. Lucky says MJ Acosta from NFL Network is a nominee when we open membership roles. Okay. Well, geez, I hate to turn you down now. We would, boy, some of those quarantine shows really got out of hand, didn't they? You guys might not think so, but, I don't watch enough NFL Network to judge. I don't know the personalities on there. I'd like to know more about her, though. Oh, my. Thumbs up on that one, D. Lucky. I'm trying to find one I can pull over here. Nah, I haven't found one that I'm satisfied with. They're kind of like low definition for whatever reason. I don't know what the story is on that. We'll work on that next time, though. I'm certainly intrigued. There's no doubt. All right, guys, we'll probably bounce now. Chip says, I think JGT got you. I'll take care of you, Biscuit. Canoe Man says, do not think we can overstate the importance of Gals We Adore, a key part of the COVID shows that meant so very much to many of us. The quarantine shows were insane. I seriously, my liver, we took 3 years off my liver just with those shows. We went like hours and hours, and I got so lit, I don't even remember like the last hour of those shows. I'm sure I said something really dumb. It's probably why some of my friends won't even talk to me. I don't know. Anyway, guys, we'll wrap it up there for real. It's currently 12:05. It's Thursday morning now in my time zone. Our friends in the Eastern time zone are now in the 1 a.m. hours, so we're gonna bounce then. I'm gonna bounce. Appreciate you guys being here, D Lucky. Appreciate you being here, Patrick D, aka Why Not AU, Mobile alum, all you guys and gals. We will check you guys on Saturday where the Auburn Tigers are going to play. It's going to tip at noon inside the Auburn Arena. Inside, I forgot the name of that new name, but it will take over. I think it took over recently, but this will be the first home game with the new name. I can't believe I've forgotten this. Longfellow. I just don't remember what it is, but we'll see you then on Saturday afternoon. Hopefully the Auburn Tigers will pull that one out, and we will have a full SEC regular season championship. Not to share it with anybody. Chip says got to go to work for another 13 hours again tomorrow. You were saving lives out there, keeping people good. Chip. It's appreciated. Neville Arena, thank you, D Lucky. Neville Arena. I got to commit that to memory. Neville, like Aaron Neville. All right, guys. See you then. Until then, keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars. Love you guys. Make great decisions. Keep it real. Peace.